What do you want? It's God is saying, I am laying out the whole measure of the fullness of me. And you can have it. But we're in it together. We are a team. And the only way we're going to have it is, as the scripture said, as each part does its work. Now, here's what we're going to do before I jump in, because I'm just going to go down verse by verse through this thing and teach through it. But I wanted to put some flesh on this, and so we have asked Mary Lynn Fager to come up here. If you give Mary Lynn a big round of applause. And Mary Goldring is going to go, they're just going to kind of sit up here and kind of just share a little bit of the story that Mary Lynn has been through. And, dude, you rocked first service, so have fun. You go, girl.
Do that. Yeah, so this is my friend, Mary Lynn. And I just have to say right off from the very beginning that this is a real privilege for me to be doing this with you, because I got to meet Mary Lynn the very first Sunday that she walked in the door at K2. And it really wasn't because I was handing out programs or anything at the door. I just sort of walked across the room.
And I kind of stood out because I was bawling my eyeballs out.
Yeah, she was a wreck that day. Anyways, so why don't you tell us the story of how you came to K2 and what was going on in your life that day when you got here?
I hadn't at all thought about going to church. I don't even think it was in the back of my head. But I woke up it was lucky that it was a Sunday morning, and I guess it wasn't luck, it was God. I woke up on a Sunday morning, and I was really, really depressed, and I knew that if I was going to live through that day, that I had to go to church. I don't know where that thought came from, but so I called up my friends that I knew went to church, and I got their voicemails, and I left them a message and said, I need to go to church. Can you take me with you? And I was trying to figure out how to just come on my own, and I came, and thank God they were with me, because they sat with me week after week, and it was really intense for me.
Yeah. So you came for a couple months and then made the decision to step into what we call the group life here, checking out a smaller group. So why don't you tell us what that was like for you?
Okay. First, I thought, because my friends were real churchy and I wasn't really churchy, so I thought I needed to learn more about God. So I thought base camp would be a good place to do that, and just to kind of educate myself. And plus, I looked around at all the people around me, and I was like, I don't have anything on my church resume at all, so I got to build that up. So base camp will do that. And then I started to go to the Beaux-Arts on Sunday night. Mm-hmm. That was pretty cool too. But my relationships there were at base camp and with the Beaux-Arts were both really shallow. Like, people were trying to get to know me. And anyone who was there would probably tell you that I was really vulnerable and that I talked a lot about, I was open about things. But I always pushed people away, and I never really let people close to me at all. And I had a wall that you can get to know me, but only this far. I only want to get to know you on my own terms. Mm. So while they were giving and giving to me, I was just...
Yeah. So was there a turning point for you on letting somebody step in and kind of connect with you a little bit more than just you spilling out your stuff and not letting people...
Yeah, I went to another group, and there was this girl there that every week she would say, well, I think we should go and do something this week. Do you want to go to this restaurant? And I was like, yeah, sure, maybe next week. And then the next time I would see her, and she'd say, oh, I just checked out this great movie. Let's go to a movie. And I'd be like, okay, well, not right now. And every week she kept on being really persistent about getting to know me, and I kept on pushing her away. And that was when I consciously realized that I'm not letting people close to me. I'm just building this wall, and I'm being really open to people, and they think that I don't know, it was just weird. So finally, I decided, my friend actually made me invite her over, and he came over and hung out with us, and we watched a movie. And from then on, we were friends, but she was a perfect person for me at that time, because I was still really exploring but I was beginning the exploration of what I wanted to believe and thinking about things in really questioning a lot, and that's who she is too. So we'd spend hours on the phone just asking each other, what did you think about that? Yeah. And that was a perfect person for me at that time.
Good. So you stepped out. I keep having that picture, for those of you who were here last week, of Andy with that hula hoop and thinking about that circle of comfort and seeing Mary Lynn in that circle of comfort and really maybe at that point sort of dropping it a little bit and stepping out into the zone of the unknown, which for you included going to Honduras, which is quite a step. So why don't you tell us just a little bit about how you were able to be in a group there. You went with how many women? 17. 17 women. Okay, obviously none of you know what it's like to be with 17 women together. I am not a sorority person, so anyways. So share with us a little bit about what that was like and how being with that group of women really impacted your experience of beginning to receive more from God and of what He had for you.
It was really interesting because I thought I was the only churchy person in that group, or not churchy person. I thought that I would be surrounded by all these people who knew so much more than I did and who had so much more to offer than I did. And I ended up rooming with people. There were 5 of us in this tiny little room, and all of us were thinking the very same thing. This person, oh, I don't have anything to offer, but this person, she's a ballet dancer and she can do this, and this person's a nurse, and you know, compared to me, I don't have anything to offer, but they do. And what ended up happening was that we sat and talked, and we told each other, like, you don't think you have anything to offer? You're incredible. And then they would say to me, well, I thought that you were incredible too. And I was like, really? So being around those women was like having a mirror to see into myself all the things that I had to offer and the things that they saw me as a competent person and not just a falling apart mess. And so it was really cool to have them be able to reflect that back to me and to give that to them too.
Mm-hmm. And you made a decision. We've got a couple of photos of Mary Lynn from the Honduras trip. You made a decision when you were down there to get baptized. There
it was kind of a last minute thing.
There she is. Why don't you tell us what were some of the things that you were thinking about when you made that decision to be baptized?
Well, I had been talking to Jairo and Lourdes. That's Jairo, and that's his wife Lourdes, and they are in charge of the church in Honduras. And everyone else was getting these amazing conversations with them, and for me, when I sat down to talk to them about my future, because I was really anxious about where I'm supposed to go next and what I'm supposed to do, they just said that I had a serving heart, and everything else they told me was stuff I already knew. So I felt really frustrated. I was like, yeah, why does everyone else get these great revelations and I get, you have a serving heart? But so the next morning I woke up and it was a day that other people had decided to get baptized, but I had decided not to. Well, yeah, I did decide not to. And so my friends, when they were getting baptized, they were saying, you know, how come you're not? And I just said, I just don't think it's the right time, and I think it would kind of be cliche and get swept up in the moment and get baptized in Honduras. But what happened was, as Jairo was explaining about baptism, I was like, I'm supposed to do this. And I need to do this. And it was really a strong feeling that I just knew for sure I was supposed to be baptized that day.
Mm-hmm. Let's look at this next photo. Yeah. All right. You're not too excited about that. So tell us, it's not just about coming up out of the water, how just even relationally, since you have come back from Honduras, how the relationships that you have now, you had them before you left, you've got them now, people you work with, friends. How is that different, and how are you receiving more of really who God is through those relationships now?
Well, now that I know that I'm not a falling apart mess, I feel a lot of peace, and I work with boys who are sex offenders. I work in a lockdown facility, and it's a pretty intense place, and when I go to work now, I just have this peace that like I know I can feel it. I can see how it affects the boys, and like my inner confidence and has changed who I am. Where I'm out meeting people and talking to people that before I just used to shake their hand and not even bother to remember their name. So on top of that, like I wake up in the morning and I can feel God inside of me. And I thought I'm not a churchy person. Like there are people who are going to feel God inside of them, but I'm not one of them. And now I can feel God inside of me, and I know that He's walking with me, and I know that I'm not alone, and I know that when I have choices to make and risks in front of me, I know that God is with me.
Cool. So what's next for you?
So now I'm moving out of my nice, cozy 2-bedroom house in Salt Lake, and I'm moving into my brother's basement in Colorado.
Because you have a servant heart.
Because I have a serving
Serious?
heart.
And what are you going to do there?
And my brother's having a baby December 5th, and he and his wife both want to work, and they knew that I always wanted to have a baby, but I haven't been blessed in that way yet. So, well, I haven't had a husband to help me with that either.
Fellas, just who needs eHarmony? We got K2 Harmony right here.
Sorry, that was embarrassing.
This is the last time they're going to let us do this. I know it. Go ahead.
So, yeah, I'm going to help my brother raise his baby and be their nanny in Colorado in a basement with no heat.
In the winter.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you so much, Mary Lynn, for being a part of my life and for sharing your journey. It's been awesome. I love you, honey.